You put the chicken manure right under your fruit trees, you think you're feeding them. But here's the number that stopped me. Up to 46% of that nitrogen is gone in a week. It never reaches the roots. It volatilizes as ammonia, burning the very feeder roots you're trying to grow. And that's not even the worst part. The real damage is silent. It suppresses the mycorrhizal fungi. Your trees need to thrive. You won't see the stunted growth for a full season. By then, you've already lost a year. But the nitrogen loss, that's actually the smaller problem. A 3-year-old apple tree nursery stock, 3 years of care, that's a $100 investment sitting in your backyard. And I've seen that investment set back 2 full years from a single spring mistake. The question isn't whether chicken manure is good for your orchard. The question is the precise seasonal protocol that transforms it from a root-killing toxin into your only fertilizer source. Get that timing wrong, and you don't just lose a season, you trigger ammonia spikes and salt buildup that can stunt a young tree for years. A single application of fresh litter under a 5-year-old tree can cost you 100 pounds of fruit. That's real money. But here's the disconnect. Our great-grandparents ran chickens in orchards year-round. Manure dropped continuously, broken down by weather and soil biology. Today, the common advice is a seasonal dump. Concentrate fresh litter under the trees in spring as a mulch. That creates a toxic spike the old system naturally avoided through dilution and time. So the real question becomes, how do you get the closed-loop benefit of that old orchard run, but on a modern homestead timeline without the damage? And this is where it gets complicated. You'll see why the standard chicken manure as mulch recommendation is a root-killing myth for young trees. I'll show you the number, the critical CN ratio of your wood chips that determines if nitrogen is captured or lost as damaging ammonia. By the end, you'll know the exact 6-week window in the orchard calendar when chickens do the most good, and the precise compost pile dimensions that turn waste into black gold. We'll break down the real dollar value of a 6-hen flock's fertility and why getting it wrong costs more than buying fertilizer. Finally, you'll get the 3-year trigger point checklist that tells you if your loop is truly closed. Zone 6B, Spring 2022, a new orchard, 15 semi-dwarf apples and pears, just planted. The homesteader followed the popular guide. He mulched each tree with a 4-inch layer of his coop's bedding, partially composted chicken manure and wood chips, applied right to the trunk flare, out to the drip line. 6 weeks later, 12 of those 15 trees were in crisis, severe leaf margin burn, wilting, 0 new shoot growth. The soil test numbers were brutal. Soluble salts at 3,200 parts per million. That's over 4 times the safe threshold for sensitive feeder roots. Ammonia concentrations had killed the emerging root hairs. The trees spent that entire first season in pure survival mode, not growth survival. The hidden cost wasn't just the lost year, it was the compromised root system. A limitation on water and nutrient uptake that would last for the next 2 to 3 seasons. He had applied about 15 pounds of fresh manure per tree, a dose that in effect acted as a herbicide. But that's only half the picture. The damage wasn't just from hot nitrogen, it was from a specific chemical cascade that most guides never mention. I've watched this exact mistake play out in backyards for years. Someone gets chickens, they get fruit trees, they read that chicken manure is garden gold, so they spread it right under their young trees, thinking they're building a perfect system. But the tree tells a different story. 6 months later, the growth stalls, the leaves pale, and the roots, the part you can't see, have been quietly shut down. The number that stopped me was this. Research from the USDA shows that within the first week, you can lose up to 46% of the nitrogen in fresh chicken manure as ammonia gas. It just vanishes into the air. That gas doesn't disappear, it reforms as a strong base in the soil moisture, creating a salt burn zone right in the root zone of your young tree. And here's the hidden cost. That same high nitrogen, high salt environment tells your tree it doesn't need help. It shuts down the partnership with mycorrhizal fungi. Those fungi are the tree's real root system, extending its reach 100-fold, 1,000-fold. When they're suppressed, the tree becomes a dependent feeder, not a resilient forager, so you see stunted growth above ground, but the real damage is below, a fragile root network, totally reliant on you for every meal. And this is where it gets complicated. The material you put down to protect the soil, the wood chips, plays a direct role in whether that nitrogen is saved or lost. It comes down to a simple ratio. The carbon in the chips versus the nitrogen in the manure. Get that balance wrong and you trigger the feast. Carbon-hungry microbes explode in population. They need nitrogen to build their bodies, so they scavenge it from the manure and release ammonia as waste. You're not fertilizing your tree, you're feeding a microbial boom that gasses off your fertility and poisons the root partnership. The visual damage is a stunted tree, the invisible cost is a full growth cycle already lost. So the real question becomes, how do you actually capture that fertility, stabilize it in the soil, and feed the tree without triggering this destructive shutdown? Found this useful? Drop a comment below. And now let's get to the best part. The first piece is the paddock, not the mulch ring, never the mulch ring. You set up a temporary electronet fence between your tree rows, a corridor 10 to 15 feet wide, that gives each bird about 50 square feet of moving room. The rule is simple, 3 to 7 days maximum in any one spot. Then you move the fence. The manure lands where future roots will grow, not on the delicate feeder roots that are already there. This is where the carbon layer comes in. Your orchard floor needs a permanent blanket of aged wood chips, 4 to 6 inches deep. The magic is in the ratio. Fresh green chips have a carbon to nitrogen ratio over 300 to 1. That robs nitrogen from your soil. Aged chips are closer to 100 to 1. When the chickens scratch their manure into this aged chip layer, something changes. The combined material hits a ratio between 25 and 30 to 1. That is the sweet spot for microbial capture. The microbes now have both carbon and nitrogen in balance. They build stable humus. They don't release ammonia. The nitrogen stays in your soil. It doesn't vanish into the air, but you still need a booster shot. That comes from the Coup. You manage a deep litter system inside, fresh pine shavings every week, cover the manure every 4 to 6 weeks. You turn that bedding into a passive compost bin. The pile needs to be at least 4 feet by 4 feet by 4 feet. That is the minimum for it to heat up properly. It must hit 131 degrees for 3 days. That kills pathogens. Then it cures for 60 to 90 days. What you have then is a finished stable compost. You apply this in late fall or early spring, an inch or two outside the drip line of the tree. This feeds the expanding root zone without any shock. It is slow release. It builds organic matter, and the timing of the whole system matters most. You do not run chickens through the orchard in spring, not during the flush of growth. The primary window is post-harvest, fall through dormancy in winter. A 6 to 8 week rotation in fall is ideal for a 20-tree orchard with 6 hens. You're moving that electronet fence every 3 to 4 days to cover the whole area. The tree is asleep. The soil biology can work without stress. The fertility is cycled and waiting when the tree wakes up in spring. The chickens also clean up, drop fruit and larvae. It is pest control and fertility in one pass. Now the closed loop math. One hen produces about 130 pounds of manure a year. That is roughly 1 cubic foot of manure and bedding mix every 3 to 4 months. 6 hens give you 12 to 18 cubic feet of raw material a year. After composting, that yields 6 to 9 cubic feet of finished compost. That is enough to top dress 10 to 15 mature trees with 1 inch of compost annually. You're feeding the orchard with what the orchard helps produce. The orchard gives the chickens bugs, dropped fruit shade. The chickens give the orchard fertility and pest control. The loop closes. You can eliminate purchased nitrogen, phosphorus, and potassium fertilizer. You might only need a little kelp meal for micronutrients now and then. But here's the final piece. The number that makes or breaks the whole system. The exact timing protocol that separates a functioning loop from an expensive mistake. Let's look at what this actually looks like when it works. A 1/4 acre orchard in Virginia, 12 fruit trees. They were spending $185 a year on organic fertilizer. 6 hens, electronet fence, October through December only. By year 3, purchased fertilizer cost 0, soil organic matter climbing, yield up. Mulch now made on site, annual savings $245. That's the loop closed. But here's a bigger system. 30 trees in Oregon, apples and blueberries, $420 a year on fish emulsion and compost. 15 hens in a 3-day rotation across 6 paddocks. They added biochar to the compost by year 4. Fertilizer cost 0. They got 1.2 tons of finished compost annually. Pest pressure dropped 30%. Total annual benefit $570. Now watch the timeline. A suburban lot. 12 apple and pear trees, 3 to 5 years old, $280 a year on fertilizer. Soil organic matter at 2.1%. Tree growth, sluggish, 8 inches of new growth, 6 hens and a chicken tractor, moved every 3 to 4 days, a 6-week rotation cycle, all bedding composted 120 days. Year 1, fertilizer cost eliminated, soil organic matter jumps to 3.8%, growth doubles to 14 inches. Year 2, soil at 4.5%, growth hits 22 inches. First crop, 45 pounds of apples. They produced 800 pounds of compost, that's about 65 pounds per tree. And this is where the timing question gets critical. And another case, a 2-acre California homestead, 20 stone fruit trees, 620 a year on fertilizer and pest control, yields averaging 15 pounds per tree. They introduced 12 hens, but the timing was surgical. 4 weeks post-harvest for pest cleanup. 4 weeks in late spring after fruit set, manure left in place, tilled shallow in late winter. By year 3, fertilizer costs dropped to $110. Yield rose to 28 pounds per tree. An 86% increase. The system produced 2,000 pounds of compost annually, 60 pounds of finished amendment per tree. The number that matters is the timing. It's not about having chickens in the orchard, it's about when they're there and for how long. That protocol is the difference between a functioning loop and an expensive mistake. I've seen this exact mistake cost people 2 full growing seasons. They follow the advice, chicken manure is free fertilizer, so they spread it right under their young fruit trees. What happens next is silent. The ammonia burns the fine feeder roots, the salts build up, and the mycorrhizal network, the tree's entire underground internet for water and nutrients, just shuts down. Penn State data shows this stunt can be severe. A tree meant to grow 2 feet of scaffold in a year, it just sits there. That's not just a lost year, that's a full fruiting season pushed back. But that's only half the picture. The real trap is the nitrogen leak. You put down wood chips, you add the manure, you think you're building soil, but if the chips are too big, too old, they form a barrier. The nitrogen turns to gas and floats away. You did the work, you lost the fertility. And this is where it gets complicated. The constant pressure trap. Leaving chickens in the orchard year-round, it seems efficient, more pest control, more manure. But the soil compacts, roots get crushed, that yellowing leaf you see in July, that's a compaction problem from April. And the cost is a 20 to 40% yield drop in those zones. So the real question becomes, how do you avoid all of this and still close the loop? By the end of your first season, you're looking for one specific change. The wood chip layer between your trees should start to feel crumbly, darker. That's decomposition happening right under your hand. And your trees, they should show 0 leaf burn, not a single scorched edge. That's your first green light. If you pull a soil test, the soluble salt number needs to be below 800 parts per million. That number tells you the nitrogen is being captured, not burning roots. Now, if you see salts creeping up, the fix is simple. Deeper chips, less chicken time, you cut their access in half next season. By year 2, the system starts talking back. You'll see earthworms in that mulch, and your trees should be pushing 6 to 12 inches of solid new growth. That's the physical proof. But the real metric is your compost pile. 6 hens should give you at least 4 to 5 cubic feet of finished sweet-smelling compost. That's your first harvest of fertility. You apply it in spring just outside the drip line, and you watch how the trees respond. But here's where you know it's truly working. By year 3. You're not buying fertilizer at all. The loop is closed, your trees are getting everything they need from the flock cycle, and you can measure it. The master number is soil organic matter. You want to see it climb 0.5% to a full percent each year. That's carbon being locked into your ground, that's the system paying you back, and your compost output. It should be feeding each tree 40 to 70 pounds of amendment a year, all from your own land. So the real question becomes, how do you know in the middle of year 1 if you're actually on that path? What's the one sign you can't fake? It's the compost temperature. If your pile isn't hitting 130 to 150 degrees for 2 solid weeks, the biology isn't there, the loop isn't closing, that heat is your engine running without it, you're just stacking manure and chips with it, you're building a fertility machine. And that single number, that heat, is what separates the setups that work from the ones that quietly fail. So you've seen the math, you've seen the damage. The real question is, what are you going to do this spring? Are you going to risk your trees with the wrong timing? Or will you build the loop the right way from day 1? Tell me in the comments, what's your biggest fear about putting chickens in your orchard? Is it root damage, pests, something else entirely? And if you've already tried, what's the one thing you'd tell your past self? For those of you in cold climates, zone 4 and below, how do you adjust when the ground is frozen solid? That's the question I'm digging into next, because the winter protocol is the most overlooked season in this entire system, and it's where most loops quietly break. We'll cover exactly what to do with your flock and your orchard from November to March, so you don't lose a full year of growth to a frozen mistake.